And welcome everyone to Off the Tee. My name is Chris Euksuzian. You can find me at Chris Ebom, and it's a whole new format. I'm on the Heat Ratio now. I wanted to thank Tony Cotillo for having me on the Heat Ratio family. This is real exciting for me. Being on a live format, streaming on all different platforms for the most part, and I'm beyond excited for this right here. I'm going to be able to take questions from you guys live, which will be awesome, whether it's daily fantasy or even sports betting in general involving the tournament. We're going to be talking about the Texas Open, the Valero Texas Open. But before we get into that anyway, the match play was outstanding. Talk about madness. You think March Madness was crazy? This was even crazier. Only one seed got through in the group play, and that was John Rahm, and then he started to have some trouble as well. But it wasn't like how anybody planned for the most part. Matt Kuchar made a heck of a run, and Scotty Scheffler, the Texas man himself, he ended up making a huge run trying to get his first PGA win. But Billy Horschel, match play specialist, ended up being on the right side of things and took advantage of an inexperienced player like Scotty Scheffler, who will one day win a tournament, but wasn't really his time right now. WGC, big stage, big purse. It's a tough event. It's a grind, and Billy Horschel, being in the great shape that he is, and ball striking and competitiveness, this just fit him very well, and quite a win for him. He's had a blown loss before in the past season, so this was a good bounce back for him here. And anyway, this has been an awesome tournament, and now we're going to get into the Valero Texas Open here. This is what you call the warm-up right here, right before the Masters, but still a good purse here. A winner gets over $1 million. It's going to be at TPC San Antonio, the Oaks course. Par 72, 7,435 yards. It's a Greg Norman design. Sergio had some help with the design with this, which is kind of different here. Big thing with this course, tons of bunkers, and big bunkers at that. And guys are going to need to know how to scramble, especially if the wind's here. The wind could really pick up here at this course. It's known to do that before. So scrambling can be important here because the GIRs, the greens and regulations, they're going to be tough to get here for the most part because of the undulations of the greens moving up and down, the elevations, if you will. So GIRs are going to be very difficult here. One of the toughest on tour, doing really well here with. So the guys that are good at this will have an advantage here. Some key stats that I feel are going to be important for this are strokes gained, ball striking, par fives gain, driving distance, strokes gains around the green. These are all going to be important here. Ball striking is usually pretty important here, but for a spot where the greens are tough here, you got to get yourself close there so you can get yourself some good putts there. So I'm going to look at the course over here for San Antonio here, TPC San Antonio. A lot of big par fives. You have a 593-yard par five. You also got one at 577. Working our way down 554 and 607. So these fairways are pretty tight for the most part, but if you can get some good distance here, that will help you in the long run. It's not a main necessity, but it's definitely a tool that you can use to be better at this course. As I said before, the GIRs are at 57% here, which is one of the lowest. It's just like Riviera CC in Harbor Town. Very difficult course with the greens just moving all over the place, running off onto the fairways and the fringe and the rough and everywhere around there. So it's going to be real tough to hit these greens here. And now I'm going to get into my leader after first round. This is like the lottery ticket. This is the one that'll pretty much free roll you throughout the tournament. If we hit this, I've known to hit a few of these, so I plan on doing it again here. And the four guys I like here: Ryan Moore, 80-1, Siwoo Kim, 40-1, Charlie Hoffman, 40-1, and Ben An, 90-1. I'm going to get into Ryan Moore first. He's had 3 first rounds with the 7th highest in strokes gained total in the entire field, based on a Greg Norman design course. He hasn't played since the Honda Classic, but he hits about 70% of his fairways, which is going to be real important. And his strong shoot is the strokes gained off the tee because of his accuracy off the tee. Because if you go near these roughs and everything, you're going to have a real hard time here. Siwoo Kim, 40-1. First in the field in scrambling, he drives about 300 yards, and he hits 60% of his fairways. It's like the perfect formula for this kind of event. He's fourth in the field with strokes gained around the green as well. He's top 16 in the field in birdie average, and he has 3 first rounds at this event, and is ranked second in the field in strokes gained total based on golfers that played at least three first rounds here. He's had a lot of success in the first round play, and is in the last 11 first rounds, he's been in the positives 8 of those times. So while I like a guy that can get real streaky here and it fits his style of play, and the putter I'm not too concerned about because that could get hot at some point. It's just that's a stat that really goes up and down a lot when you're handicapping these guys here. Ben On, 90 to 1. His best strokes gained category is around the green. It's been really important here. He's coming off 2 back-to-back cuts, so he's looking to get a good bounce back here. History has shown when he's come off at least 2 back-to-back cuts, he bounces back real well. He did this with the American Express, finishing 8th and 12th, and at WGC St. Jude Invitational. He's been finishing strong at these tournaments. He's had a really good start at these events that kept him in a good position at the end of the week. So he's had those good finishes because he's had a good start and he's been able to hold on to him. It's not like he's gotten hot at the end of the tournament. So if he can putt better, and he also putts better on Bermuda grass, which these are the greens here for Bermuda. And he's ranked 8th in approach shots from 100 to 125 yards. It's the second highest percentage of approach shots you're going to get here. So I think that'll be something that will work to his advantage. And Charlie Hoffman, 40 to 1. The highest strokes gained total golfer here for the most part. And with his 4 first round played at this event, he's done unbelievable. He's posted 2 strokes over strokes gained total. And yeah, he's had really good numbers in his approach shots and striking categories. And yeah, we're getting some feedback over here. How we doing? Welcome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The Heat Ratio family. I'm very excited. There's so many different platforms with you guys here. I can't wait to get more involved with you guys, even with like Sixers or anything else. I do more than golf, and I plan on bringing football here as well with my co-host Russ Reese down the road. But I'm very excited about being part of this family. Very passionate. Love what you do, and very good insight. So I'm very happy about that. And I'm going to be looking at a top 30 over here. Chris Kirk, he's plus 125. He's had great success at this event. 3 finishes in the top 13 in his last 4 times playing here. His strong suit is the strokes gained around the green game. In his last 4 events, he's finished in the top 25 in 3 of those events. So he's been really consistent, getting inside that top 30. A guy that I feel like is going to even probably do better than that. But I think to be able to get a little bit more than your money back without laying any juice at top 30, I think it's kind of a steal at this point. And he's top 10 in the field in strokes gained total, 9th in the field in strokes gained around the green, and his fairway hits are 65%. He's just been in really good form. So that's something I'm looking for if you're looking for a bet that's going to give you a small return, but you know, more of an opportunity to make some money. I like that play here. And if you guys have any questions regarding anything of daily fantasy or sports bets that you've been looking at, I also do matchups as well during the week. You can find it on Philly Influencer, Fox Sports The Gambler as well. So these are things I'm good at as well for the most part. So if you have any other questions, like I've been on the Ding It, Swinging and Ding It Daily Fantasy, and I'm at the top of the group right now based on points. So if you got any questions on guys you have, you're trying to lean on for like mid-price guys, I'm more than happy to go into that as well. So now we're gonna get into the top 20. But before then, I'm gonna have a little beer here. Oh, that's good there. So let's get through the second half here, guys. I got 3 guys that I like for the top 20. I like Ryan Palmer plus 125. Charlie Hoffman plus 175, and Brandon Steele 2 to 1. I'm going to get into Ryan Palmer first. If you guys don't really know, he's in the upper echelon in this field, which he typically isn't one of the top guys when playing, but in this kind of field, he is. He's had great success here besides his last 2 cuts of this event. Besides that, he's had 2 6th-place finishes and a 4th. He drives the ball over 300 yards, which will be important to gain strokes here. And he's very solid with his approach shots. And he's in the top 20 scrambling in the field. He's been in the top 20 in his last 2 events. So he's been a guy that's been cashing checks and doing really well and contending And for a more watered down field here, getting more than 1-1 on your money here, I really like that there. Charlie Hoffman, plus 175. He's been excellent in ball striking in his last few events, along with his approach shots. He's been in really good form. He's had an amazing success here, having a win here, a second place here last year, and he's also had 3 top 20s in his last 5 events. Somebody that's been striking the ball incredible, and once again, the field isn't that great here. So at plus 175, I really like that here. And just remember, guys, you can follow me at Chris Ebom if you don't do that already, or my golf page at OTT Matchups, where I pretty much put out my matchup plays for the week. I'm real big with live round matchups, second, third, fourth round matchups. So I like to take advantage of those spots. And those are 2 follows that you're going to have to do. And also follow at Heat Ratio Sports as well. That's also very important. And let's see where we're at. And Brandon Steele, 2-1. You're getting a little more bang for your buck here. He's really good strokes gain off the tee with his driving distance over 300 yards while he's still having 63% fairway hits. That's very dangerous for this course. He's 4th in the field of scrambling as well. He's just checking off all the boxes here. He's had 2 top 20s in this event. And he's coming off a 3rd off the Honda Classic. So he's been in really good form and something that, it's something to watch out for. And I think at 2-1, it's practically a steal here. And now I'm going to get into the top 10s here. I'm going to go into my boy first, Tony Finau, plus 138. He's the odds-on favorite to win after DJ. He's been back and forth. He was like, all right, he got knocked out of the group stage, so he was going to get his warm-up here. But now he's like, screw it, I'm not going to do it. So he's out now. So Tony Finau is now the favorite here. But when I look at his stats, he's made for this course. He drives the ball real far. He leads the field in strokes gained total. He came off a very embarrassing Players performance, the Players Championship, if you will, if you don't know. He just played absolutely terrible. I think he was like plus 7 or 6 or 8. It was just embarrassing, which isn't really like Tony Finau. He's usually a very consistent, one of the most consistent golfers on tour. So coming off an embarrassing performance like that, I think this is a good spot for him unless they're a field that makes some noise. They get himself really warmed up, get that momentum into the Masters. He's going to be pretty much my play for the Masters. I feel like it's going to be a storybook ending for him as far as breaking the Puerto Rico curse. And I think he's got a real good shot at the Masters. I think this will be a really good warm-up for him. I don't think he's going to win it, but I think he'll be in contention at the top 10. And he's 7th in birdie average in the field and 8th in strokes gained approach. And he's also ranked 5th in approach shots from 150 to 175 yards. So you're asking, why did I even bring that up? He's ranked 5th in approach shots from 150 to 175. The reason is because 20% of the approach shots at this course are going to fall into this category. So if guys that can hit really well in this distance, I think will really benefit with those GIRs, which will be very hard to get those green in regulations. Siwoo Kim, 3.5-1. He's had 3 PGA wins under his belt, along with the Players Championship, which is pretty much the biggest purse on tour. His scrambling will be key here. He's top of scrambling. It's going to probably get windy here, and the greens are undulated with all sorts of elevations, and it's going to be tough to get those. And I think his scrambling is going to really help here. He's 1st in the field in scrambling, and I just think he is also part of this upper echelon where he can get real hot. And if his putter's going too, forget about it. He should have a good shot of getting into that top 10 for that kind of money. And Chris Kirk, 4-1. I talked about him earlier. He's a guy that just had really good success at this event. I think the top 30 is a good hedge where you can make some money on top of that. But if he gets hot and he gets in that top 10, that 4-1 money does look pretty good here. And now I'm looking over to the winners here, the guys I think that are going to win. Siwoo Kim, 35-1. He's had 3 PGA wins under his belt. The scrambling I told you about. I just feel like he's the guy that he's personally my favorite to win. I think this is a good event for him to get a victory under his belt, get his 4th victory. And I think as long as his putter's good, I think it'll be solid. Chris Kirk, 45-1. I said it and I said it again. His course history is great here. He's been just playing unbelievable. And let me look at what he's been doing here. So I'm going to just go to him real quick. Yeah, he's had an 8th at the Arnold Palmer, a 25th at the Honda. And if you look at his course history, he's had an 8th, a 13th, and an 8th. I mean, he's been locked in on this top 10. And for someone that's been getting good momentum here, having a good showing in the PGA, this is a guy that I really like here. And let's see, I got one more guy here as well. Brandon Steele, 41.5 to 1. He's ranked 14th in approach shots from 150 to 175. It looks like it's going to be 20% of the approach shots are going to be from here. Steele's been really, really good. Very deadly, very good ball striker. He's had a third at the Honda. At this course in general, he's had an 8th and 13th. He's made the cut every time at this event as well. So this is also something I'm looking at as well. Strokes gained tee to green is excellent, and his approach shots is his bread and butter. And you're going to need some really good approach shots, especially around that 150 to 175 range. Now, I'm going to step off from the betting a little bit here. I'm going to go into some of the daily fantasy stuff. So if you guys have any questions regarding daily fantasy, I'll be more than happy to answer as well. So I'm just looking at some of the guys in the top echelon here. Scotty Scheffler, a guy that played really well this past week, grinded it out, played a bunch of rounds. He's a guy that actually has good numbers for this kind of course, but I think the wear and tear of that match play, I totally want to fade him this week. I don't think he's going to have a real good showing here. Corey Connors at 9,500. I think his putting has been getting a little bit better, and his ball striking, he's a ball striking machine. I think he's somebody to look at here as well. Abraham Answer, also great with his approach shots. He's at $9,700 here. He's a guy that's just been in really good form as well. I'm going to bring him up here. Let me see here. Corey Connors. He actually did. He is the returning champion here from 2019. They didn't have the event in 2020 because of COVID. He's just been really good. 3rd at the Arnold Palmer, 7th at the Players, which I also banked in a first round leader after one with him there. I just felt like that was his time to play really well there, and I think he's gonna have a good showing here. He already has that win under his belt. It's gonna be tough to defend here, so I don't think he's gonna win, but I think he'd be a good. If you're gonna be in like a smaller group event, I think that's a good person to play. If you're playing like one of the the home run swings for the most part, I don't think that's a good spot for him there because I think a lot of people are going to play him for the most part. I'm also looking down the DraftKings board here. Let's see. Yeah, Chris Kirk, 8,600. I still think that's a really good play. I think you got to play Chris Kirk all the way around. Let's see what we got here. It's funny, Ricky Fowler, he's at 8,100. He's trying to get in the Masters. He's a well-known name, just been really terrible for the most part. He's been trying to change his swing, had a new swing coach and everything. I know a lot of guys are going to probably try and play Ricky Fowler here because they know, like, oh, if he wins, he's going to get into, going to get it into Augusta. But it's going to be so hard to win this tournament here. So I just don't really like him here for the most part. Aaron Weiss has been playing really well at 8,000 on DraftKings. I think he's definitely a must play as far as daily fantasy goes. I'm going to look at his numbers here as well to get you more info here. He's only played here once. He's missed the cut. I'm not too concerned about that. His last event, the Honda, he did get a 13th. But if you're looking at just stats in general, I'm going to bring up his stats over here. So his GIRs is 72%. He's in the top 5 for that, and I think that's a really good spot to have somebody for. And he drives the ball over 300 yards. So where guys are having a hard time getting GIRs, he's a guy that can clean up as much as you can at this tough course here. Birdie average here is still pretty solid. I'm looking at, and let's see. So his strokes gained tee to green is his best stat. So that's just pretty much the putting with the driving. I think that'll be everything put in together with that. I think that's a good combination for him. His putting has been a little bit off of late, but I'm not too concerned about that as well. I'm going to keep going down the board here. So Ben On, I think, is also a nice play here at 7,500. I don't think he's going to be played that much here, just based on all the cuts that he has had. And when I'm looking at his stats over here, yeah, the 2 cuts he's had, but he has had a 7th here the last time that he played here in 2019. So it's a course that feels comfortable with, a very streaky golfer, but somebody I feel like not going to get a whole lot of play. So I think even in like one of the big events, I think he's a really good play there. Also looking down, I mean, another big name, Phil Mickelson. While he has the big stick and he drives the ball really well, it's super sporadic. I think you got to stay away from him as well. Let me see what he has done here recently, because he's played forever, so you got to go with more recent numbers. So last time he played here was 2016, and he missed the cut. He's actually at a 35th for the Players and 25th for the Honda Classic. So those are 2 good starts for Phil Mickelson. It's not the Champions Tour where he tears that division up, but Phil Mickelson, I think his biggest issue is I'm gonna bring up his stats right now. Let me see. Let me get Phil over here. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, jumping in. Love to hear from you guys. Comment. I appreciate it. I would love to answer questions from you guys. Spread the word. Heat ratio, off the tee. A lot of good things happening here. Mark Drumheller doing great things with betting for breakfast. Fantastic stuff. He's been covering pretty much every sport for the most part, so he's been doing really well. So Phil Mickelson, I want to get back to him. He's one of the lowest on fairway hits, under 50%. He's at 46%, and it's just not that good. I mean, his driving distance is really good. His around the green game is solid, but I don't know. I think he's going to try and do too much here, and it's just not going to end well for him. And I'm going to go down the line here. Let's see. Let me see someone that stands out to me here. Harry Higgs is pretty interesting at 7,100. If you look at what he's done recently, he's had a 19th at the Honda, 29th at the Players. Never played this tournament, but he's been really solid for the most part. His approach game has been really good. I'm gonna bring up all his stats so I can get that for you here. Drives the ball 300 yards will be big here. Let's see what else we got here. Pretty good with birdie average. His approach shots is the strongest part of this game, so which is going to be important here because you're going to need really good approach shots. And if I look at that stat where I have the 150 to 175, let me bring that up here. 150 to 175. Harry Higgs ranks 15th in that in the PGA, which is really good. So what I'm going to be looking here, so I'm looking at this 150 to 175 range. I'm looking at guys that could make some noise here. Jordan Spieth actually ranks 7th here with that. That's going to be pretty good for him. He's really sporadic off the tee, which is my biggest issue. I think Jordan Spieth would be a better suit for the Masters personally. I'm going to look to live line him because his odds aren't that good right now for him. So I'm gonna stay away from him from the early betting market for next week. But for the live line, if he has like a bad round, I might hop on him then. Brendan Steele, I talked about, is 14th in that 150 to 175 yards. Tony Finau, 13th. So these are a couple of guys here. Ben On's 18th. Russell Knox is a guy that I would consider in daily fantasy as well. He's at 7,000 here. Tom Hoge is a guy that is really good on the approach shots. Can he put it all together to make a run here? I'm not sure, but I think he's a good sneaky fantasy play here as well. And going down a little bit more, we're getting to the real low ones here. Doc Redman, 6,600. I mean, he's very good on his approach shots, just been in bad form. That's why he's so low there. I'm looking around as well. Those are pretty much the guys I'm looking at for the most part as far as fantasy goes. If you guys have any questions, hit me up on the feed. I'll be more than happy to answer. I'm going to take a look at the matchups here. I didn't write anything down for the matchups, but I definitely want to see what would be available here. Let me see. Doesn't look like we have any matchups yet out. But if you're looking at like a top 40, I know these top 10s and 20s can be tough to hit. And I know some of you guys would like to see what top 40s would be pretty good to play, just pretty much making the cut and doing pretty well after that. So I'm going to look at some guys here. Matthew Naismith plus 138 seems like an interesting play to me. I'm gonna look at what he's got over here. Thank you guys for chiming in, coming in, watching the show. I appreciate it. Like, give the support. I really appreciate it. So we got Naismith. Naismith. GIRs. I believe he's pretty high in GIRs. Yeah, he is. So his best parts of his game are the GIRs, which is going to be big. He's third in the field in that. He drives the ball a little under 300 yards. Fairway hits are almost at 64% for him, so that's really good. And scrambling's at 60%. His strong suit, I mean, he's one of the best approach shot players on tour. He's fifth in the field in approach. Oh, actually, he's fourth because Dustin Johnson's out. But the approach shots, he's fourth in the field in that. So I think that's a good guy to take. I don't know if he's going to be a chalky play as far as that goes, but I think for daily fantasy, he'd be a really good spot there as well. I know you guys did well on the matchup plays for the Dell matchups. You got the Kuchers and things like that. I want to stay away from those guys for the most part that made those kind of runs, because that was a battle for 4 days, 5 days. You had your group play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday you played 36 holes. I mean, it was no joke. And guys like Kuchar, guys that made deep runs like that, I'm not too crazy about the play right now. But some other guys I'm looking at possibly, if you're looking for a real long shot to win, like a nice home run swing, I would say Matthew Naismith, 100-1, or even Russell Knox at 100-1. Those are good numbers there where, you get good bang for your buck and good hedge opportunity. Guys great off the approach shots. And let's see. Yeah, so I'm fading Scotty Scheffler this week. I think he went through too much, a lot of emotions. I'm staying far away from him. Matsuyama's a weird guy because his putting is bad, but let me see what he's done recently. I'm gonna check out what Matsuyama's done. Matsuyama. So let's see what he's done late putting wise. He's actually been pretty good putting. He's been in the plus at Arnold Palmer, and the Dell Technology actually putted pretty well. So I mean, those are real good. I mean, for a guy that doesn't putt well, and he's a guy that is a ball striking machine, can he put it together and win this event? I mean, he has the pedigree to. I mean, if you look at this field, he is definitely the top echelon here. And once again, I just want to say again that there are going to be a lot of big bunkers here, so scrambling is going to be important. I know some people say it's not going to be as important, but I feel like it's going to be, especially with possible winds that could be going all over the place. I think that's going to be some strong suit that you're going to need to get, because especially when you're hitting the greens and they're going to be rolling off of them anyway, I think you're going to have to be good with some scrambling around, because there's just big sand traps like everywhere for the most part. All right, let's see. Yeah, Charlie Hoffman, I think he's priced really high. He's at 9,200. I'd rather probably take Brandon Steele based on 9,100 there. If I'm looking, let me see if we got any miscut opportunities. Let me see. Tournament props, miscuts. I don't see any here. It's a shame because we're early into the week. So let me see. Golf futures. Excuse me, guys. Just gonna see if we got anything here. No, we don't have any miscuts yet. If I'm gonna look for some guys from miscuts where I think you actually would make decent money on, I think Scheffler might be a guy, because I mean, I think just the wear and tear of that tournament, and I think a lot of people are gonna take him just in general. I think that would just be a big spoiler for people. And if you don't know me, I can't stand Matt Kuchar. I think a spot here, Matt Kuchar missing the cut after his grind of playing for a while, an older guy that's been playing I think a miscut could possibly happen for him as well. And a guy that doesn't really drive the ball that well and went through like the gauntlet of the match play. He played more golf than anybody, I believe. So I think that'll be tough for him. I was shocked how much he held up that much, but it is what it is. Harold Varner III is also a guy that could do really well here. His ball striking's real solid, but he's so streaky at times. It's like, when is he going to bust out HV3, you know? So we'll see there. So let's see. Okay. Well, I think I hit up on most of the daily fantasy guys that I'm liking here for the most part. But yeah. So to pretty much recap everything here that I'm looking at. First round leaders, Ryan Moore, 80-1, Siwoo Kim, 40-1, Charlie Hoffman, 40-1, Ben On, 90-1. These are huge numbers. You put a little bit on these bets, maybe a couple bucks, you know, they're huge payouts, and it could free roll you throughout the entire tournament if you hit one of these. You don't have to bet a whole lot on these. You can do a couple bucks, $5, like whatever you feel comfortable, you know, gambling with for the most part. I think that's really good here. Top 30, Chris Kirk. I'm real bullish on him, plus 125. This is a guy that I think is going to do really well here. And you're getting plus money on top 30. I think that's a really good spot here. And in top 20, I have Ryan Palmer plus 125, Charlie Hoffman plus 175, and Brandon Steele plus 200, 2-1. These are guys that are going to do really well here, and they're just good ball strikers, and they had good course history here, so I really like them there. In top 10, it's a chalky play, but I like Tony Finau plus 138. I just think he's just one of the best guys in this group, and I would be shocked if he doesn't get a top 10, especially after some embarrassing players' performance. I think you have some time to reset, and I think this will be a good leeway to the Masters. I think this will be important because the Masters, I think he's going to really want to get up for that tournament. And I think this will be a good, you know, warm up. And I don't know if necessarily win. I don't think he's going to win it, but I think at plus 138, I think it's a slam dunk. Siwoo Kim 3.5-1. All his skill sets fit this course. I think he's going to be contending the entire week, and we'll be able to get a nice, you know, bang for the first round leader with him as well. And Chris Kirk 4-1. I'm playing him top 30. I'm playing him top 10. I think this is a guy that's just been in great form, and I think he's going to do really good here. And then my guys to win: Siwoo Kim 35-1, Chris Kirk 45-1, and Brandon Steele 41.5-1. These are guys. I'm taking longer shots here. When I'm looking at the board over here, you got Scheffler as the second favorite. I just would never touch that based on what happened last week. Tony Finau, you know, his winning issues have been an issue. Jordan Spieth 14-1. He's interesting because he's a Texas guy, and he played well in Texas. You know, that's his backyard, so that's something to consider as well. I'm going to check out what else we got here. I mean, you could roll a dice with Answer 20-1, but when it comes down to it, I'm taking these longer shots because I think more of a longer shot's going to win this tournament. 35-1, 45-1, and 41.5-1. These are the odds I'm looking at for Siwoo Kim, Chris Kirk, and Brandon Steele. And yeah, these are the guys I believe that will be contending. And if they are contending on Sunday, there'll be great hedge opportunity as well. And guys, that's going to do it for me here. I talked about as much as I could about the Valero Texas Open. It's not a real well-known event because it kind of leads into the big Masters, Masters event for the most part. But you can find me at Chris Ebom on Twitter and at OTT Matchups on Twitter. And now that I'm part of the Heat Ratio family, you can find me there as well. You can get this on YouTube through them, Twitch, you can watch through anything, Facebook. That's what I love about this format, and that's what I love about this family. Everyone's real passionate, working real hard here. We're all working together, and I'm beyond excited. And I'm going to have a guest next week, mystery guest next week, big name in the Philly area. Can't wait to have him on. He loves PGA golf, and especially PGA golf betting, so stay tuned for that. And guys, thanks again for listening to Off the Tee. This is my first run of the show over here. I hope you guys enjoyed the information, and let's go make that money, guys.